Okay, I wanted to talk on the pop culture front to just about wrap up today, but I watched Borat 2, which I really wanted to talk about this movie because it was so fucking funny. It is like, and the thing about Borat is like, obviously, there's the whole thing of it's it's weird because he went out in character as Borat like however many years ago it was when the first Borat came out, and people didn't really know Borat that well. So a lot of the stunts he did were really like, I guess, you knew that they were like they there was an anonymity to it, I guess, that he could do things as Borat and people didn't know that he was a character necessarily. Um, Now, like a big plot point of this movie is that because Borat became so famous, people recognize him as Borat. So the Borat character is putting on disguises and stuff and going out in public in disguises to pretend that he's someone different, so people don't recognize him, which I think is really good. Uh, the story revolves around Borat going back to America. I won't do any spoilers, by the way, but going back to America to give his daughter as a gift to Mike Pence, because of like the backwards gender politics in Kazakhstan where he's from. It's all very tongue in cheek. It's all very played up. There's some pretty crazy stuff that happens in it. Some pretty like there's one incident between the daughter and a real politician who believes that she's a journalist. So it's all set up. And there's one incident there that's really interesting. And then just a lot of really funny skits. There's a great moment where Borat's giving a guy a haircut with old shears. There's a lot of just random penises you see. Like you'll just see Borat's penis, which I just found really funny, unexpected penis. But yeah, I found this movie really entertaining and just so great to watch. So many funny moments. And the thing I was thinking about during it is like we've reached this point. I think Borat 2 has come at a really good time for society. We've reached this point in society where like I was thinking a lot while watching it about how this is like, you could put this as like, oh, he's punching down on people from Kazakhstan and he's putting on an accent and he's wearing goofy outfits and he's mocking people of different, races and religious affiliations and stuff like that. And I was thinking about it a lot. And then I sort of also thought about all the Chris Lilly controversy and his characters being really controversial as well. And I don't know. And like, I'm going to be careful how I frame this, but I just think that like watching Borat really solidified to me that um, satire, there's a marked difference between satire in character play and like blatant offensiveness. And I think that the thing with Borat is he's so obviously lampooning everything he does. Like he's so obviously a caricature. He's so obviously um politically incorrect that like to take anything that that character says seriously would just be silly. Like the funny part of Borat is the outrageous things he says and the fact that no one would say that and he's general ignorance. Like you're laughing at Borat, you're not laughing at the the racist things he says or the discriminatory things he says. You're not laughing at those things. It's not those things that are funny. It's him being so ignorant and being so rude and just not knowing any better. You're laughing at his stupidity essentially, right? And I haven't seen too much controversy around Borat, like Borat 2, in terms of political correctness and censorship and those kinds of things. Um, but I think of I feel similarly about a lot of Chris Lilly's characters, which have been essentially banned from streaming, and people are really shunning them. But I think characters like Gran from Angry Boys, who's one of his best characters, really really funny.
The boys fear me. They're frightened of me. I can be a real fucking cow if I need to be.
Turn the fucking television off, Marlon.
It would be really really easy to say that that character is racist because of what they say, but or that Chris Lilly is racist for even writing that. But it's like he is portraying a character that does have those beliefs, and there are people in real life that do have those beliefs. So he's portraying that character, and the reason you laugh at a lot of what that character says is because it's so outrageously offensive, right? And I'm not saying that anything outrageously offensive is funny inherently, but it's the fact that he's portraying this character that is this person. You're laughing at the ignorance. You're laughing at the offensiveness. You're laughing at because you know that you shouldn't say that. You're laughing because you know it's offensive. So it's like, and this is going to sound weird, but like something's like, say, Borat or Gran or Daniel and Nathan, Chris Lilly's twin boy characters, or even Mr. G. Like Mr. G says a lot of ignorant, politically incorrect things, but he doesn't realize it. And you laugh at the ludicrousness and the barbarity and the ignorance of these characters who don't realize how ridiculous they sound and how offensive they sound. You're not laughing at the offensive thing. This is just my opinion, by the way, and I'm happy for people to disagree, but like, I think that if we start getting rid of that, then satire is going to die. And satire is one of my favorite types of comedy. Borat is a satirical character. Mr. G is a satirical character. These are characters that you don't like them necessarily. You don't like them as people. You're laughing at how flawed they are. You're laughing because you know that there are people out there that probably are a bit like this. And it's like, you're laughing at, wow, this person is such a fucking idiot. This person is such a fucker. You're laughing at the blatant ignorance. And I think that's something that we're losing sight of now. Like we're starting to see it as like all or nothing perspectives, I suppose. We're seeing it as like anything that is someone portraying another person and saying something that's race. Like that's sort of part of what acting is, like getting into the shoes of someone else and portraying someone completely different. And I think that Sacha Baron Cohen and Chris Lilly are really real experts at that. I'm not saying that the things that those characters say and do are right at all. I'm saying that it's funny because they are wrong. It's funny because you cannot believe, you really can't believe that there are people like this, but there are. And I think that was my biggest taking from Borat too. I think it's come out in the midst of this climate, and I think it's really brave to have come out, because I know even Borat was getting a bunch of controversy, and it is and always has been a very controversial character, as a lot of Sacha Baron Cohen's characters are, including Ali G and Bruno. So yeah, I think we need to look at stuff like this with a lot more nuance, because it's not as simple as like, oh, Borat said this, therefore. It's like, it's not, it's just like, I think you need to see the room for more of what the satire actually is and what the character actually is. And it's not because you wrote this joke, you must believe that in your real persona and you must be racist in your real persona. It's like, no, you're portraying a character. Anyway, those were just my thoughts. This is a great film, and I think you should watch it. I think it's so much fun, so goofy, so cheeky, and just a really good follow-up to the original. And again, it's very topical. It's very now. So I don't know if it's going to be like a classic forever. It's very 2020. It's very oriented to what's been happening in 2020. But definitely check it out. It's on Amazon Prime, which I didn't even realize I had an Amazon Prime account, but I do, and I watched it. It was really, really fun. Highly recommend it.
But I went to run my hand through your hair and I noticed you were attached to string. You were a puppet this whole time, you were attached to string.